While pondering my orbit video ideas, a thought struck me. Tournament of Elements turned 11 years old this year. While this age may be a little more interesting to others, I used it as an opportunity to take a brief revisit and discuss every fight that took place during the tournament of that season. With a total of 10 official matches, it should be fair to set some ground rules. First, I'll only be considering fights that were in the games themselves. So for example, Nia being hunted in the jungle counts, but not Nia running away from Klaus. And I'll also only be considering footage that's contained in the fight itself. So if it cuts away to some side plot, then that also won't count. Second, this is entirely based on favoritism, although I will give reasoning on why I think the way I do. And lastly, you must agree with everything I say, as wise individuals naturally do. My last place pick is a no-brainer, Shade vs. Tox. Since it wasn't shown on screen, there's literally nothing to say about it, except that Tox was allegedly
hard to swallow, am I right?
although I really wish they had showed this one, since Shadow and Poison sounds like such a ridiculous matchup that I'm just curious as to what they'd even cook up. Maybe it's just a rule in the Ninjago writer's room to give Tox as little screen time as possible. Number 9 goes to Nero vs. Bolobo. There's nothing too special about this fight since it's shoved in between two other ones, but it does offer some good stuff, like showing that Nero can not only read minds but also cause headaches. I also like the double meaning of man versus nature that this fight represents. Next at number 8 is Griffin Turner vs. Gravis. I like this one a little more because as a concept, speed versus gravity doesn't make all that much sense. But then you see the execution and it all just clicks. This isn't the most entertaining fight in the world to me, but I have to give props to the creativity here. This fight also gives us a good look at Griffin's personality. I like to think of him as a good mix of Kai's hot-headedness with Jay's whimsy. The number 7 spot goes to the free-for-all round at the beginning of the tournament. Looking back, this was a really good way to showcase the majority of the powers that'll be present in this season, and build up everyone as competent elemental masters. This is made even better with Karloff beating Kai fair and square, which is why Kai had to cheat because he's a failure at every possible thing he's ever done. They also decided to nerf Cole with a stomach ache, yet he was able to somewhat hold his own, so at least most of the ninja weren't completely useless. I don't know how Cole didn't take this as a warning that maybe he should be eating a tad less.
I'm getting kind of full. You always getting full.
The only concerning part of this fight is Jay versus Bolobo. This grown man just so happens to choose a teenager's room to go J-Blade hunting, and is already looking at him in the bathroom by the time Chen finishes his announcement. You are literally 40, bro. You could have chosen anywhere else. I know what you are. In number 6, we have Skylar versus Jacob. I don't even like it for the performance itself, but more for how Jacob is presented. An Elemental Master of Sound being blind is such an incredibly good gimmick, and I'm pissed Dragon's had to replace him for whoever this is. Number 5 goes to The Hunt for Nia. Now, due to the rules I established at the start of the video, the Serpentine War flashbacks sadly won't be a factor in my thoughts here. But this fight, if you can call it that, is really good regardless. The parachuting scene is one of the most cinematic things to come out of Ninjago, but the one thing bringing it down is Lloyd summoning the Elemental Energy Dragon with no prior knowledge that this thing existed. Like, he had the Golden Dragon, but that vanished when he gave up his golden power, so I don't see why they chose this evolved scene to not only debut it, but also act like he's been able to do this for a while. I also really like how Chen is presented here. Using Nia's gear as traps is really smart, especially for someone like him. My one issue with this is how they captured Griffin and Mr. Pale. They were holding Mr. Pale with their bare hands, so they clearly didn't use any bench stone. So I have a hard time believing they were able to catch someone with super speed and invisibility, unless Griffin and Mr. Pale are just idiots, which is pretty realistic. On the Skylar side of things, she was really stupid here. I don't know why she decided to use ice when she's fully aware it would expose her identity, especially when they could have easily crossed the river using the rocks. It seemed a bit forced of a reveal since Shen shows up anyway. I just think someone who's been able to hold up this facade for this long should be acting a little smarter than this. The number 4 slot goes to Kai versus Ash. I don't know why it took Kai an unreasonable amount of time to lock in during the fight by using his powers, but when he did it got really good. And the final movement tricking Ash into vanishing so he can get the blade is probably the only time Kai has ever used any kind of brain power. Exciting stuff. Entering the top 3, third place goes to Lloyd vs. Chen. From an objective standpoint, this fight really isn't all that, but I kind of enjoy it. Chen having a good amount of skill with all the elements he's collected and beating Lloyd's ass was very fun to watch. Him being able to use the elements to this extent makes sense too, since I imagine he had a lot of time to research how these powers work, with being present in the Serpentine War, forming a tournament of Elemental Masters, and using a transformation spell based on said powers. Second place belongs to Jay vs. Cole. I'm sure everyone was overjoyed to see their shitty love triangle finally be put to rest in a great fight scene. Disobeying Chen and working together was such a good character moment for the both of them, and it's a relief after the suffering we had to endure in Rebooted and the season 4 episodes prior to this. My one issue with this fight is the Jade Blade. In the battle, Jay and Cole personified the blade as Nia, which would have you scratching your head at first, but if you look at the dialogue it makes sense.
She's yours, Jay. I should have bowed out long ago. Win this thing.
Cole refers to the Jade Blade as a she, and tells Jay that he should have backed out of this battle a while ago, being a dual meaning for not only the fight itself, but their battle for Nia's heart. This allegory-esque thing they did doesn't sit right with me. Symbolizing Nia as an object and by extension a prize to be won wasn't the best way to write that, I feel. Taking out the dialogue relating to that wouldn't change a whole lot and the core of their fight would still hit all the same. But hey, it's not like the Havens are known for treating women nicely. And finally, first place naturally goes to Thunderblade. Like there isn't much surprise there, this round is definition of peak. It brings up the exclusion the ninja very blatantly have on anyone that isn't part of their immediate group, and that fact comes back to bite them. The focus on the other Elemental Masters we see in Thunderblade is great in general. We see most of their personality traits and Elemental powers on display, which really helps them develop as characters. The team dynamics are great too, especially on Camille's team. Having knowledge on her team's powers and using them to her advantage is exactly what a team captain should be doing. Contrast to Lloyd's team where you have him and Jay putting in work, but Kai still uses fuck. So I guess everyone's a character. I'd be lying if I said all this development was good though, because there's one Elemental Master that just grinds my gears in this fight. Nero is the stupidest Elemental Master to walk the earth, and Thunderblade just proves it. Prior to this, the ninja told Nero about Chen stealing powers to try and sway him over to their side in an attempt to stop Jay and Cole's fight. He read Klaus's mind and discovered proof of Chen using the stolen powers for some kind of spell. He proceeds to not take the ninja's side during Thunderblade, but when the ninja are trying to convince everyone on Camille's team that Chen is evil, he chimes in with the
He's telling the truth. I know.
Yes, we know that you know. Where have you been? Aside from that, there are a few little things that also make Thunderblade great for me, like introducing the ability of Elemental Masters being able to transform things to cater to their element, which is something that should really be used more often, Dragon's Rising for example, and Camille just being a complete ass and staying loyal to the victory for the pure love of the game is the funniest shit ever. And that's my ranking completed. Feel free to give your opinions on it in the comments below. You can probably expect a full video on Season 4 once I get around to my Ninjago rewatch, so check back in a year or so. But you definitely won't need to wait a year to get opinions on Season 4 from other people. This is where the Digiverse comes into play, a Ninjago Discord server that you can join using the link in the description. In other news, the Ninjago fanfiction that I've been writing, titled Ninjago Decade, is finally complete with 19 chapters. You can also read that with the link below. You'll be seeing a sequel to this video quite soon for the Tournament of the Sources, and I don't have nearly as many nice things to say about that one. And better upload consistency is on the way, maybe, possibly.
Yeah.